KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm Loving It, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Coming up now on Primetime, in session this afternoon, lawmakers discussed a bill to fund a new 21st century healthcare center. Plus, the interim chief medical officer of public health settles into his new role. And Marble Cave property owners have filed a motion to voluntarily dismiss their lawsuit. Good evening, Guam, and welcome to KUAM News Primetime. A special holiday to all of our online viewers watching us live right now on Facebook. I'm Jason Salas, and these are your top stories. Well, in session today downtown, senators discussed a bill to fund a new 21st century healthcare center with which to replace the Guam Memorial Hospital. Guam's governor has identified the project as one of her administration's top priorities. Tonight's top story is with Nestor Lecanto.
It is right for us to ensure we are providing for the most basic needs of our community without jeopardizing the safety of those involved. It has been a long time for us to realize such an opportunity to enhance our healthcare facilities.
The governor has said she will set aside $300 million in American Rescue Plan funds for the project, while Congressman Michael Nicholas has identified a possible $340 million grant from the Interior Department. The Army Corps of Engineers estimates a new hospital would cost about $745 million. The governor says she would use both pots of money to help fund the center, but St. Nicholas says to use the $345 million and free up the $300 for other needs. Meanwhile, the bill calls for a portion of earned income tax credit reimbursements to be set aside to pay for a build, lease, and transfer deal. Office of Finance and Budget Director Steve Guerrero.
We estimated $55.8 million to be received in EITC tax. Of that 55, we set aside $35 million for the hospital and $5 million for DOC.
Deliberation on the bill was cut short after Senator Tello Taitigui asked for a Revan tax representative. Discussions are expected to continue when a DRT rep is available. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Session resumes tomorrow morning. Well, as we report on the link this morning, our island recorded 8 COVID-19 related fatalities over the weekend. All 8 patients, according to the Joint Information Center, were unvaccinated men who range in ages between 53 and 80 years old. 3 of the COVID-19 related fatalities were dead upon arrival at the hospital. Elsewhere on island today, 2 Port Authority staffers have been tested positive for COVID-19, and according to a release from the agency, both of the staffers are fully vaccinated. The first employee tested positive over the weekend with the port's contact tracing team, identifying 1 employee that was exposed but tested negative. Late last night, another employee tested positive with 19 close contacts since been identified and will be scheduled for testing. As of today, 95% of port employees are fully vaccinated, with 2% having received the first vaccine dose and the remaining 3% not being vaccinated. Moving on in our rundown, settling into his new role at Public Health, Dr. Bob Leon Guerrero broke down the details on what he's doing to help bring down the number of COVID cases on the island. Our next report is with Daniel Perez.
Since taking up the mantle from Dr. Felix Cabrera, new interim chief medical officer of public health, Dr. Robert Leon Guerrero, told KUAM one of his duties since taking up the position.
I go head up to Teason and help with the getting people who are COVID positive into treatment centers like the Regeneron Center over at Manila, and then in the afternoon I'm there.
Dr. Leon Guerrero gave an update on the number of patients being treated using RegenCov.
Well, initially it was slow. I mean, I think the first day that we opened up the Manila Senior Citizen Center was maybe about 4 or 6. Yesterday, in the morning, we were up to 16 being given that day. And I foresee that number will continue to rise.
Although the RegenCov treatments are going well, hospital staff at both the GMH and GRMC are worn out and overworked due to the upsurge in cases.
I see it because I'm a hospitalist. I still see people that get sick, but not at the amount that the nurses up at the hospitals see it. And I feel for them because they're tired and they want this to go away.
GMHA spokesperson May Habib confirmed the exhaustion of the staff and shared what they are going through.
We're really hoping for more relief. So we've been doing everything we can. So many doctors, so many nurses, staff, techs, in so many ways have stepped up. They're working overtime. They're taking more shifts. They're flexing in every which way. We've taken administrative nurses and put them on the floor for clinical reasons. We're stretching our telemedicine technology to, better have doctors available for every patient. But absolutely, staff are tired. There's only so many overtime shifts you can do before you're absolutely exhausted. Before, it doesn't matter how much more money you're making. You're just tired, and I can tell you the staff is tired.
Habib noted that 15 Department of Defense reservist nurses are on the way this week to help GMH with their staffing situation. Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
All right, Daniel, thanks so much for that story. To Island Education News now, as now that students have returned back to school for in-person learning, the Guam Education Board believes that the Guam Department of Education is doing enough to keep our kids safe. Board Chairman Mark Mendiola says some complaints were raised about students and staff not properly social distancing, but he does assure the community that GDOE will address those concerns.
In terms of the reports coming back from the first day of school, there were some reports out there that, people were not social distancing and all this stuff, but I can reassure you and I can reassure the community that as these issues come up in the different areas, our school administrators will adapt and will change and bring it into, corrective action. And so I have no fear of contradiction that the administrators of schools will do what they need to do to keep their schools safe.
The other half of the GDOE student population, the chairman says, returned to all 41 public schools in scheduled cohorts this morning after not being in physical contact with teachers and peers for about a month. Parents having concerns about their child can email info@gdoe.net. That's info@gdoe.net. While some concerns among parents and schools alike have been raised in regard to coronavirus testing for students upon return for in-person learning, as Isaiah Uggan explains in our next report.
To resume face-to-face learning, schools must submit a COVID-19 screening testing plan to the Department of Public Health and Social Services as an added COVID-layered mitigation effort by October 1st. Guahan Academy Charter School Chief Executive Officer Dr. Judith Wampat said in an exclusive interview with KUAM News that the plan will be ready and submitted to Public Health by the deadline. Wampat expressed that she is not too concerned with the guidelines, but with the liability.
My nurse was giving this scenario, and so did my principal, saying that, sometimes what we do as parents is we hold down our children, right, if they're going to be immunized. And then what if in this particular case, we're talking about, swabbing the children's, nose to, for the testing. And they're concerned that if a child squirm, kick, scream, whatever, and then, an accident should happen as a result of, trying to get a swab. What are the liabilities for faculty and staff?
Wampat pointed out that in the plan, staff who are conducting the test would also be swabbed for COVID as well. Testing would occur every other weekend for 10% of the student population. Wampat noted that students who don't consent to testing will continue to attend classes.
If we're not going to test the children, then it would mean the children will continue with the status quo, meaning that they would be online, and then the other number of children are on hard copies, that we will continue that at least for the time being.
Meanwhile, a survey recently conducted by GAC so far displays that many parents would rather have their children stay online. Also, many are starting to say that because they don't want their child to get tested, that they wish to remain online as well. No numbers are available yet, according to Wampat. Parents' response to COVID testing will be the determining factor as to when GACs will resume face-to-face learning. The COVID testing plan won't be enforced until then.
It's not going to be implemented until such time that we are face-to-face.
Out of 765 students, some 200 students are doing assignments via hard copies, while the rest remain online. Operations will remain the same until further notice. Since the start of the school year, 5 students and 2 staff have contracted the virus so far. Out of 80 staff, only 6 are unvaccinated. Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
Also tonight, the private landowners of the Marble Cave property have filed a motion to voluntarily dismiss their lawsuit against the companies behind the massive solar farm project over in Mingilao that left surrounding area in an environmental mess. Tyler Matanani has more.
The private landowners of Marble Cave have dropped their case against Samsung and KEPCO. Attorney Mike Phillips represents World Meridian Sessagen LLC. On behalf of his clients, he filed a motion for voluntary dismissal. The private landowners sued the owner and contractor of the Mingilao Solar Farm project for failing to follow Guam EPA's erosion and sediment rules and regulations. Because they didn't, runoff from the heavy rainfall caused extreme damage to the once pristine Marble Cave. The historic site was transformed into a mud pit.
What I can say is that before the defendants filed their answer, obviously there was intense discussions going on for quite some time now. And honestly, I wasn't part of the final settlement. The parties were able to work it out, and at this time, I'm not able to really share much more than that. Other than I think it's very, very positive. I know that my client, the landowner of Marble Cave, is very pleased, and from what I've seen, I think that everybody's going to be very pleased with what happens in that area, and specifically Marble Cave.
While an agreement was reached in this case, the contractor still faces another lawsuit brought on by the Attorney General's office. Today was the deadline for Samsung to file its response brief to the AG's case. It was in July Guam EPA issued a notice of violation against the solar farm contractor. It proposed $18 million in penalties, but Guam law caps the amount that can be assessed to $125,000. Samsung filed a notice of appeal to the NOV, which is still pending before Guam EPA. Meanwhile, the U.S. EPA was also recently on Guam to conduct an assessment. The findings of their inspections have not yet been released. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
And as always, we invite you to voice your view on our social media channels with our daily question. And today's inquiry: would you take a booster shot against COVID-19 if you are eligible or become eligible? It's a very good question, and we want to know what you think. The CDC recently released their latest guidance for boosters for frontliners and elderly who are at high risk. We're going to share some of the responses tomorrow morning on Facebook Live on the link, so check that out. Now, we know a lot of you are keeping track, and we've got an update on your tax returns as the Department of Revenue and Taxation is paying out $5 million in refunds this week. Now, this breaks down to a little over 2,000 payments for error-free returns filed on or before June the 7th. So look out for the payments either in the mail or your bank account again, filed before June 7th. Well, with the medical and religious exemption forms now in public distribution, Public Health PIO Janela Carrera tells KUAM News that none were approved or denied as of today. They're still under the process of being reviewed and had this message for staffers and individuals who are waiting for it.
In the executive order and the guidance memo, it does state that while these requests are being reviewed, the individual may continue to work. If they're employed, they may continue to work. So, it's not like you need to stay home. And the one thing that I do want to remind the community is that even though you are given, let's just say your request is approved, that does not mean that you're excluded from testing. So you may be given an exemption from vaccination at your employment, your place of employment, but that does not mean that you're exempted from weekly testing.
And of course, if you would like to find the forms again for religious or exemption on the basis of a medical condition, you can find them on the World Wide Web, dphss.guam.gov. And please do stay tuned, everybody. We got to take a quick commercial break, but Prime Time will continue right after this. So keep watching and keep streaming. You're watching KUAM.
Half a day. As we look ahead to a brighter tomorrow, Matson's commitment to Guam and Micronesia remains stronger than ever. While the world around us is ever-changing, what remains unchanged is our commitment to you, our customers, and the island communities we serve. Shipping is what we do best, and serving our community is at the heart of everything we do. But we don't do it alone. This is why we support organizations that make caring for the people and the environment a top priority. We know that many count on Matson's lifeline services in the Pacific, and that's why we continue to work hard to ensure that our shipments remain on time all the time. Matson recently added another Aloha class vessel to our schedule. We now have 2 of Matson's largest and fastest ships serving Guam from the U.S. West Coast and Hawaii. With our new state-of-the-art vessels, we stand ready to support the region's economic recovery. Thank you for the privilege of serving you for the last 25 years, and you can count on Matson to be here for the next 25 years and beyond.
Thanks for the Big Mac.
Yeah, thanks for driving. Wait, what are we listening to?
Get it at McDonald's when you get 2 of your faves for just $6.
So you went to Mickey D's and didn't even. Man, that's wrong. What? You're all right.
Get it at McDonald's when you get 2 of your faves for just $6.
100% truck, 100% Jeep. Experience next-level off-roading on your new Jeep Gladiator, the most capable off-road midsize pickup truck crafted for adventure, equipped with best-in-class towing capacity, legendary 4x4 Jeep capability, and backed by Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. Drive home in a 2021 Jeep Gladiator today, starting as low as $315 per paycheck during Jeep Adventure Days. Visit CarsPlusGuam.com to get pre-approved online today. Terms and conditions apply. Cars Plus, driven by you.
Your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Friends, welcome back to Primetime. Let's take you about 100 miles up north for our next story, as the CNMI Superior Court has dismissed a lawsuit involving 9 firefighters on Saipan who are choosing to not get vaccinated. Tomas Manglonia reports.
It is unfortunate that we have to lose good firefighters through this process. To be clear, it was never the governor's nor my intention to go through this level of enforcement. That was Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services Commissioner Dennis Mendiola writing in a statement late last night. It's in response to the CNMI Superior Court's dismissal of a lawsuit waged by 9 terminated firefighters who choose not to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. The court explaining that the firefighters' next course of action ought to be through proceedings under the Civil Service Commission. The initial termination sent to the firefighters was issued in March after Governor Torres mandated that all executive branch employees and activity heads be vaccinated a month prior. Commissioner Mendiola writes in part, "As firefighters, we are charged with the great responsibility of ensuring the safety of our community, and that starts with us to protect ourselves through vaccination before answering the call of duty." He says, "I wish there was another way. However, we are still in a state of emergency." Meanwhile, only those with medical or religious reasons are exempt from the mandate. Tomas Manglonia for KUAM News.
Now, we did reach out to one of those named firefighters for comment, and as of this morning, the CNMI has had a total of some 267 cases of coronavirus, most of which are travelers testing positive upon arrival in mandatory quarantine at a government facility. Back here on Island, former Jotnya Mayor Jesse Blas has filed a motion for sentence reduction for compassionate release. The former municipal leader was sentenced in January in federal court related to drug charges. Specifically, he was accepting bribes so that meth could be smuggled into Guam through cluster mailboxes outside his office. Blas is scheduled for a release in May 2022, but he is asking to get out of prison sooner because of medical reasons and that he has high-risk factors for contracting COVID-19. Blas has been held in a medium security facility in California since June, but is supposed to serve time in a minimum security federal camp. The former mayor writes in his motion that the fact that he's been held in a transit facility in the Golden State for more than 90 days is even more unsafe than normal prison conditions. While he's been there, he says, he's seen hundreds of prisoners come and go, thus increasing his risk. He's also had 7 different cellmates in the time that he's been incarcerated. A hearing has been scheduled for the 3rd of November. Elsewhere, a bill to mandate HIV testing for defendants in criminal sexual conduct cases was passed on to the voting file during the morning session. Currently, the law requires the test for those convicted, but the measure by Senator Amanda Shelton would require the court to order testing within 48 hours after a person is indicted.
Pre-conviction testing provides this information at the earliest possible opportunity. Victims of such crimes suffer extreme mental anguish, and to deny these individuals access to knowledge of possible exposure unnecessarily subjects them to additional pain and agony.
Is there anyone who'd like to be recognized?
The HIV testing would be conducted by the Public Health Department. The results must be provided to the victim or the victim's parents in the case of a minor. Let's move on in our rundown now, as October is nationally known as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Locally, it's remembered as Family Violence Awareness Month, with Guam's coalition holding events to honor those affected. KUAM's Hannah Devanzo has our next story.
Guam's Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Family Violence is inviting the community to join their Zoom events on October 1st at 2:30 p.m. These include a virtual silent witness ceremony, a presentation of the proclamation and of the legislative resolution. Father Mike Chrysostomo of St. Anthony's Catholic Church in Tamuning will be leading them.
The silent witness ceremony is really it's an opportunity for the families of victims who have died to get together, to remember, recall the stories of their loved ones, those who have given of their lives. And it's a moment where we show support for the families of these victims, but also to remember their names, remember their stories.
While Guam's coalition is actively fighting against violence in the community, the Guam's Police Department's Domestic Assault Response Team reports that in 2020, there were over 1,000 victims. Cynthia Cabot, Executive Director of Guam's Coalition, has seen an increase of people affected.
This continues to be an issue in our community, and there really has not been any decrease despite the pandemic, but it is certainly a concern.
Although the numbers are growing, the Guam Coalition is not giving up. They hope the events this month will help raise awareness for their services to further support victims of violence.
We hope that we can help put an end to this, and we hope that victims who are out there hear the voice of support and of help, that they're not alone and that we are here with them.
To participate in the Zoom events on Friday, visit Guam's Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Family Violence's website to find the Zoom link. In addition, the coalition is holding a Waves in the Village event on October 20. Residents can show their support by driving by the villages of Jigo, Dedido, Tamuning, Barrigada, Manilao, Hagatnya, Jetnya, and Pidi at 5 p.m. and honk their horns. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Hannah Devanzo.
Well done, Hannah. Thanks for that report. Well, the Archdiocese of Again, in other news, is a step closer to hiring a new superintendent of Catholic education. Spokesman Tony Diaz says they are in the final process for selecting a new Catholic school superintendent. Interviews for the role was conducted last week, with the position having been left vacant by Dr. Juan Flores in early August. And also tonight, if you happen to be heading to the beach in the next few days, watch out for box jellyfish. It is that time of year. The Department of Agriculture's Division of Aquatic and Wildlife Resources warns they're anticipated from Thursday through Sunday around island beaches. If you happen to see them, even if they're on the shore and seem to be dead, please stay away from these creatures because they do pack quite the powerful sting and you could get quite sick. You're also asked to report sightings to the Department of Wildlife Resources at 735-0289. Once again, 735-0289 if you happen to see the very dangerous box jellyfish. Well, sports is coming up after the break, and still to come, Cold Stone Creamery birthday shout-outs time.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Más.
The new crispy chicken sandwich taco from Taco Bell. Is it a sandwich or a taco? Which side are you on? Try it only at Taco Bell.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Half a day.
Hi.
That will be $20, please.
I forgot my Mobile Smiles driver's rewards card.
No worries. You can now use your registered mobile number to earn points.
Can I use my mobile number to redeem rewards?
Sure. Just show us your photo ID or driver's license.
That's easy.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Here with Michael Kittigwa, OCR competitor, represented Guam out in Vermont. Just talk about the event and how things went for you out there.
Yes. So I did about 3 races in the obstacle course racing world championships in Vermont. And I did first the 3K pro men's division. That was on Friday. And then on a Saturday, I did the 100-meter sprint obstacle course. And then on Sunday, I did a team co-ed relay.
The 100-meter event, I know that was just a short, compact course, but it seemed like you were able to breeze through it rather smoothly.
Relatively smoothly. Of course, there was a few hiccups along the way. We only had 2 chances within an hour to do our 2 runs. So I had to really study the course beforehand and try my best. A few times I had to redo an obstacle because I didn't fall, but I didn't necessarily go through it real smoothly. So I just essentially restarted that same obstacle and tried my best to pick up time. And that was essentially the course that I was focusing on out of all 3 of them.
How was the weather? I know in previous competitions, sometimes it was cold, sometimes it was rainy and wet.
Yeah, so on the first day, it was starting to rain, and I was already preparing to be cold and wet. And then thankfully, at noon when I was starting my first race, the sun started to come up and dry up the course, and it continued to be dry and sunny and warm. It was relatively warm throughout the rest of the weekend, so it wasn't too bad.
And how was it traveling with the Guam team, supporting one another and just, representing the island?
Oh, I mean, it was fantastic. We carpooled. We drove from New York and drove all the way up the East Coast to Vermont and stopped along the way to one of their in-laws in, Connecticut. So it was maybe a 3-hour drive along the way. And we just all supported each other and did some warm-ups and trained and got mentally prepared.
And what's next for you?
The next competition? Well, it's, of course, next year I'll be competing again, and I plan to qualify. But in between that, I'm training to do the ANAA, American Ninja Alliance, or something like that. Anyways, it's a ninja competition in the States, and we should be having qualifiers here on Guam, and then competing in, I think, Las Vegas for the championships, I believe.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
You are everything that matters to me, and I promise to do whatever it takes to keep you healthy, to be comfortable, and to be free. I love you. As long as we're together, I'll always make sure that home will always be our best place to breathe.
When making the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich, people asked how I felt about burger places selling fried chicken. I'd say that's none of my business. Just like making fried chicken is none of theirs. Get the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich. It's finger-licking good.
All right, everybody, we got cake? Check. We got presents? Check. We got candles? Check. And those really, really cool birthday hats? All right, we are good to go. Here are tonight's birthday shout.
Happy birthday on this 28th of September, a Tuesday, and Amon Guerrero. Happy birthday to my handsome and best friend ever. Aw, that's a great message. We love you always and forever. With love, your wife and your beautiful grandchildren. And a single belated birthday shout out going out to Andres Joshua St. Nicholas Regis, otherwise known as AJ. We are always so proud of you. God bless you. And never forget who loves you. Congratulations and good luck on your journey. Don't forget us when you get there. See Nina, Mr. B, Luke, Logie, Joseph, Jason, Gabby Kendall, and the rest of the familia. We wish you both the very best of birthdays today.
All right, great job, me. If you would like to be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club, just go to KUAM.com and click on all the way at the tippy top in the navigation bar, Birthdays, and you are in. That's going to do it, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.
Howfit everybody, I'm Sabrina Salas-Matanani. Welcome to Health, Home, and Lifestyle. We start things off with Health Check as we speak with the new interim Public Health Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Bob Leon Guerrero, about boosters.